In the last session, we covered the filter functions, right? So far, we completed the aggregation functions and rounding functions, which is again part of your mathematical function like ceiling function, round up, round down, and logical functions also we covered, and information functions, is error, is blank, we covered, and filter functions we covered, all the calculate table functions, and also we covered all family of functions. And then table functions we will take a look at it today. Relationship functions also I covered, like a related table and cross filter, use relationship, and related we discussed about. Text functions also I covered, and the find, you remember the find, how to concatenate string, everything. And now today we plan to target the table functions and the date and time functions. Mathematical also already covered. Many statistical functions as part of this I covered, the average, all the things, right? And parent child functions probably we will take a look at it. So the whole idea is today I wanted to wrap up the sessions by covering all the most frequently used and widely used popular functions that are part of the table functions and the time intelligence function. This is very much important, time intelligence functions. Okay, and then today's session will focus on these two, and rest of them also we covered, right? So the parent child, only thing is I'll try to cover that also if possible today itself. So okay, before that I just want to start with the data table, how to create a data table. So that is part of the table functions. It comes under table manipulation functions. We have something called add columns. Bunch of functions are available as part of table manipulation functions. We will take a look at the important functions, and also as I explained in the past, right, lot of functions are available if you look at the manual like this one. Even financial functions, many things are there. So what I would share, right, so in this 2 months duration, covering everything is not possible, but again there are certain functions, right, though it is available, we don't use those functions so frequently, like year FRAC, year frac, and UTC today and all, right, we don't use it. The most frequently used and important functions will be covered, and already covered many functions, right? So today what we will do is we'll start with the table manipulation functions. And for this, I was about to tell this one, I will share you one awesome document, the definitive guide to DAX. This is one of the awesome document. You can, if you want to take a deep dive, and if you want to explore many functions, it has everything in it. Okay, the definitive guide to detail, they explain everything in detail. But anyhow, right, so I will share that to you all, and I will put it in my website also, right? I will share it to you all, and you can go through on this one. You can use this as a reference and beyond a reference. Okay, so it goes in depth, the definitive guide to business intelligence, that thing, right? And the manual is obviously helpful to check for the syntax, right? So syntax, everything. If you want to see more example, more thing, right, you can go ahead and explore the DAX guide, which I will share it to you, at the end of the session today. Okay, so today we will start with, in the last session we created the measure table and all the aggregation functions, right? Just give me a second. We're going to explore something called data table, using which you can create the tables, right? So you can create so you can create some kind of so we can create or declare an inline set of data values using data table. I'll just show you. If you want to store some temporary create table, right, sometimes what will happen, you don't need to use every time the operating system files. So you want to create your own small table for reference purpose, or you want to do some kind of you want to include as part of your data or analysis, right? You can create it here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is the data table, as the name suggests, and it is a table. You need to create a table. Okay, new table. Ideally, it's a best practice. You can, if you want to create any new table, any measure, you just click here, the ellipse on the right side, and then click on the, but you will not find the table here, you will find only the measure. So that's the reason why I just clicked it here. Okay, the table. So only measure you can create it. Okay, you can, if you want to make the measure to be part of a specific table, right? So in this case, we have created a dedicated measure table to hold all the measures, right? We are using that. But table, if you want to create a table, right, the data table functions, or if you create anything using the calculated table, right, it will become a table. So what I'm going to do is data table. So instead of saying, right, so data table, I'm going to create with some meaningful name, okay, and region 1, something like that. Okay, so here what I do is I'm going to say data table. Data table is a table manipulation function. So here I just hold the Alt key and then press enter, and the next step is region ID, something like that. Okay, and comma, I'm going to specify the column name 1, comma type 1. What is the data type? This is string data type, and comma, and next I'm going to create another column, region name. I'm going to say some other name, okay, and I just want to create some meaningful name here. So what I want to do is so we will do something like a region name, region wise sales, something like that, okay, and string, and the next one is I'm going to use QDY. Quantity is I'm going to declare this an integer, and the next one is sales, and sales is here you need to make sure that you are going to give comma followed by the column name. So here double. So this is a little bit different from the way how we create table in other thing, right? So RDBMS database. So look here, you need to specify the column name within the double quote, comma, you need to specify the data type. So okay, the next one is here I'm going to specify double comma. I'm going to continue this one. So here within this curly braces I'm going to say RE01. So I'm going to say east region. See, first one is the region ID, the second one is the region name, and the next one is I need to use one more curly braces. Mistakenly pressed enter. So you need to hold the Alt and press enter in order to go to the next line, okay. So here, okay, the region ID and 12345.44 something, some value for sales, and this is the one, and inside the parenthesis curly braces you need to specify the region 3, and here I'm going to say north. Here I am getting underline. Why am I getting underline here? Syntax error. That means here I did not put the comma here. I forgot to specify here. I did not put the comma here. Sometimes, in case of any mistakes, it will highlight it with underline, right? So red colored one. So now we don't see any error, but this is the previous error. I just created a table. What I'm doing here is, so I just define the column name, data type. 4 columns are there, and we specified the data type for each column here. And next one is for each column what value should go here. That's what we mentioned it. I just copy it in my thing, in my clipboard, so that later point in time I am going to use the same thing. I can save time instead of typing it again. So this is how you can create a data table. Okay, I'll just show you. Sometimes you may need a static table for some kind of lookup or something like that. Okay, so in that kind of situation we'll be using it, and I'm going to create another table. So in the meanwhile, let me just, I just copy this one and then paste it here. So I just call this a region to another table. We have two tables are there. So let's say you received the two files from someone else in your organization. I just copy. Now the order is little bit different. Ideally here it should be like that. Okay. So I call this a region 02 and region 02 and I call this south region because this is a different table altogether. So the previously we created one and this is the one is different thing, and I say east something like that. So or let's say west region, and I just say 5 comma here I can say 7 comma some value. So now I just specified the quantity first and then the sales. Okay, and let's see what happens if I press enter. In this table the column order got changed. I intentionally added it. Okay, let's go step by step. So I just click on this report canvas view and okay, data table reg1, data table reg2. So the naming convention I have given in order for you to understand. So after this session I will be uploading this one also, this file, so that you should look here. Two table got created. So data table function returns a table. If you want to create any temporary table, look here, data table reg2 holds this data in it, and let us refer this one, our definition. Okay, and region ID, region name, and sales quantity. Okay, this is the one is region 2. Sales come first and then quantity comes next in the data table reg1. So here quantity comes first and sales comes next, and the region names are different. So now you understood how to create a data table. Okay, so you need to define the column name within the double quote, and then followed by that you need to specify the data type, and then you need to use two curly braces to define the data for each row or each cell or column. But each row you need to use the curly braces. You need to start with the curly braces, end with the curly braces. That's it. We are all set. We are able to create the table successfully using data table. The next question is, okay, the data table is fine. Now I just wanted to do some kind of union. Okay, so we know the set operator. So whatever you learnt in SQL Server, the same thing we are going to do it now. So what is union? What is intersect? But in order to perform union, we have a function called union that is available in DAX. If you see here, you will have something called union function is available. So using union, we can combine or append both the region 1 and region 2 data table. So in order to perform union, whatever the columns that are there in your data sets, right, it should follow the proper order. For example, reg1, so we specified the columns in this order: region ID, region name, quantity, sales. Whereas in the case of data table reg2, the order is not same. We define the sales first and then we define the quantity. In real time scenario, you might get, you might not expect all the time the column order should be the same way as you expected. Sometimes the column orders might get changed. Okay, so in that kind of situation, how do I perform union? If I do union with this itself, it will get combined. But the first data set we have, look here, in the first data set we have quantity and sales. So what will happen is if I combine these two things, in the second table sales value will get into quantity and the quantity values will get into sales column. Okay, so those kind of issues can come up here. So first we will try and create, let me just do one thing. I just go to the table again, because we are going to perform the union on two data sets. It is obviously a table. We are dealing with tables. We'll start with this one. Okay, I just go to the thing here. I'll show you what is union. You can see this is just for data table. I'm using union. You can use it for any data existing data set also. You can use it. So now the question is, Power Query editor also I can do the union, intersect, everything, and DAX also I can do that. So what is the difference? Union table. So look here. So in this case it creates a join from a pair of tables. Okay, table 1 and table 2. You can specify here table 1, table 2. In our case, what is our table? Before that, you need to use union function. Union function. Here the table is data table reg1 and data table. See, we don't have to give quote and all. It automatically uses the quote. The reason why it gives why it enclosed these tables names by quote is single quote is because we have space in between the words. Okay, so to tell the DAX engine, hey, consider all these words as a single column name. So for that purpose, it does the enclose, it puts the quotes. Okay, fine. So now I'm going to press enter. So a table by the name of union will get, look here, a union table got created. So now as expected, it wrongly populated the data, but it is working fine, no syntax error, nothing. But what happened here is, in the first one, right, in the first one the order is something, region ID, region and quantity sales, everything is fine. So everything up to this one, it is fine. Okay, and the second one is the quantity, right? So quantity 75, okay, here 7 5 1 2 3 4, and yeah, here also it is doing the same thing, right? So in this case it is fine, no issues. And supposing you are using some other name here, let us do one thing. We will create another table. I'm going to create region name on the column names should also be same, right? That is also another one. Column name should be same, the order should also be same. But in this case, one second, here, since the column names are same, it was still has an intelligence to identify. Oh no, here the quantity is 1 2 3 sales, yeah, correct, it is going correctly only 1 2 6 4. And we will create another data table. Let us see if this one, how will it know the region name 1 is same as this region. If I change the column name, what happens? That is what we are going to see. The column order should be same. Even if it is not same, it was able to identify automatically behind the scene. So a quantity column, you pick up the quantity from here, and sales column you pick up from there. Supposing the column names are different. So for example, I'm going to say you are getting something like that. Okay, I just go and press enter. In real life scenario, you will be getting 5 or 10 tables. For those tables you need to do some kind of join, everything, right? So union, you need to do it for probably 5 to 7 tables in real time scenario. So now this table got created. I am going to create another table. We are going to combine this data table with other two data table. Already we have used the union table, right? So combine tables for region 1 2 3. So here union, I'm going to say union table is, this is the one we already created it. The next one is data table region data table region 3. Okay, so now I just go and create it. So now it was able to region 1, right? It combined region 1, region 2, region 3, quantity, sales. So region 3 is RE02 and southwest 751234.44 and 15264. Okay, here the sales value is the third one, right? 7. See, there is a mistake here, right? So the sales, the third column has sales here. We did not notice it here. In this case, yeah. So in this case, the third column is sales. The sales value 7 has gone into quantity. Actually, this 7 should have been here, and this value should have been here, right? Okay. So that is the problem now. So what can I do now? Okay, first of all, the column order should be same, but even if the column order is not same, the column names should be unique, right? So I just let me open this. Yeah, we will use this column here. Whatever this script is not the up-to-date one. So here sales 1, quantity 1. The column name is, or column order should be same, or the column names should be same, plus the number of columns should also be same. For example, here you have 4 columns in this data set, other data set you have 7 columns. In that case it will not work. So these 3 things needs to be followed whenever you do union. But in this case, my data set has a column names like region name 1 and sales 1, quantity 1. So here, after I did the union, combine tables, with this type of data set, when I did the union, what happened? The sales value gone into the quantity, and quantity value is gone into for this region, right? So for south and west it is opposite, right? So the 7 supposed to be sales 1, and the column name is also not same here. Okay, so it literally goes by the order. So first, second, third, fourth column, whatever is there in the first column should get appended to the previously appended region ID. The second one, though the column name is not same, whatever the values are in the second column, it goes there. Up to this it is fine. Up until this it is fine. But when it comes to sales 1, quantity 1, we know sales 1 is belong to the sales column, but unfortunately, so in this kind of situations, how do I handle this one? That is when we have something else called select columns. We have a function called select columns. In real life scenario, you will come across many things like so. If you notice it very carefully, right, you can find the values got stored interchangeably. This is how you will post. See, this is very tricky one. You will not face any. You will not get any error. Everything is fine, but end of the day, when you see the report, you will find a big difference. You break your head, you go and check your measures or calculated column, whether formula is used, everything is correct, but end of the day, something wrong. Where it is wrong, difficult to find out. Okay, so in that kind of situation, you will break your head. So that's the reason why, as and when you load the data, you need to keep randomly check it whether the data got gone into the tables correctly or not. This is where we make mistakes. Most of them we spend weekends also, day and night sometimes, okay, to break out. Okay, to address this, what can we do? I'm going to create another table. So here I'm going to use something called select columns. before we get in select columns, let us understand first of all what is select columns. So the select columns adds the calculated columns to the given table. That is the role of the select columns. The return table has one column for each pair of argument. Each argument, this is the return value, and it adds calculated column to the given table or table expression. The calculated column. With calculated column, we are going to address this issue. What is the syntax for this? You need to specify the table name and then name. What is the name given to the column? Okay, what name you want to specify to the column, and expression that returns a scalar value. If you want to use any expression, you can use it. Now we need to make sure that the right value should go to the right column when you do the union. But in our case, when it comes to reg3, it is not happening. So I just copy pasted it here. Okay, this right. So in this case, how we are going to deal with it? So select columns. So here combine. For you people to understand the which DAX function I used it quickly, I prefix the measure name as select, but in real time you are not supposed to use like this. Okay, you need to give some meaningful name. So here what I'm going to do, so union, and here we have some union table. Up to this it was good. We did not pose any issues. With this union table, I'm going to use select columns. Select columns function. The first function name is table name. So which table we want to use? The data region 3 and region 3 and region 3, right? So next one is what I'm going to do is region 3, and I'm going to say the next line, the column name. I'm going to say the column name as region ID region space ID, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to say the region name. Okay, what I'm going to say, data table. Okay, so anyhow, data okay, I just specify region ID. Okay, the next line is up to this is fine, comma, and the next line what I'm going to do is I'm going to say region ID and region name. Okay, and region name. If you look here, sorry, I need to look at region name one. Now I'm going to correct it as region name. I'm going to give the proper name here. The next one is data table and region name. Okay, and yeah, this is the column. Okay, region name 1, and press enter. I'm going to say first quantity. I'm going to change the order now, but in this case, if you look here, the quantity comes last and the sales column comes in the third position. I'm going to change the order simply. Okay, so data table, and here I'm going to say the quantity 1. So I just change the order of the column using select columns, so that the right data will get into the right column. That is the whole idea of this one, select column. Now you understood the application when what kind of scenario we can use select columns function. Data table, this is related to sales one. So this is the new name and this is the existing name. Okay, this is the new name, this is the existing name I'm giving it. So now I just corrected the order of this table, and what I do is already we combine the two data tables. Look here, the reg1 and reg2 we already combined, and reg3 that the combined values were available in union table. So comma. So in addition to these two tables, I wanted to include include this data, this table's data also. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I just press enter, close this one. So now everything is fine. It seems I need to give one more parenthesis here, parenthesis. I just go and see it. So when the moment when I specify this closed parenthesis, automatically it highlights this one. So with this we are able to understand which parenthesis relate to which parenthesis. If you click on here, if you click on this, if you click over here, it shows the corresponding. With this you should be able to understand, okay, whether are there any syntax error, have we mentioned the proper number of parentheses, required parameters. Yes, everything is fine. I just click on this plus this tick mark. Either you can click on this one or you can press enter as soon as you complete this one. Now a new table will get created with the name of select columns combine. You need to be very cautious when you work with real-time scenarios. In this case, oddly we have few records. Look here, the quantity has gone correctly here and the values went correctly into the sales. That is what the sales one is 75. The sales value 75 has gone. Quantity is 1 2 3 4 1 to 7. It correctly has gone. So using select columns, we are able to address it. Now with this, we are able to understand how to perform, how to create a data table using DataTable function, how to perform union, and how to use select columns. Fine. Next one is we will take a look at something else called the except table. Okay. Except is nothing but, how many of you remember except? Can someone open up and say what is the except function? We discussed in the SQL server also, isn't it? So what is except? How many of you remember it? SQL server, we discussed this, right? So we have an except function. One second, I just go to the next. Except function returns all rows from the left table and do not appear in the right table. Okay, it returns all the rows from the left table which do not appear in the right table. This is called your except. So here, exclude the common values between these two data sets, and also whatever the data is there in B, right? So that also excluded. So all the values from in this case, right? If you change the order, obviously it's simply A minus B. That is what is except. That's what we discussed in the last session. Now let us do and check, explore how to use except here. In this case, I don't know how many of you remember. Okay, select columns, right? So, okay, well, let us try randomly. Okay, except table, except, and left table is something like okay, I just go and say reg1 and data table reg2. reg2 I did not copy it here, right? So that's the problem. I just reg2, if I click on this, I can see this. So when I share this Power BI file, you need to, this is how you can open it and check all the scripts, okay, the table related scripts. Fine. Okay, we are done with this reg2, and let's see the except table, whether it got created or not. Except, yes, except table got created. I just go, yeah, except table got, look here, RE01, RE03. So RE01, everything is different, right? So RE01, RE03. Okay, so here it brings both. Okay, not this one. I'm not sure. I'm looking at the wrong table. This is the, let me do one thing. I just select. Except table also shows the same thing, right? So we need to compare reg1 with reg2 RE0, it simply shows the left side data. Okay, RE02, the RE02 is part of my race 2, and RE03 is, it's a comment between these two, right? So let me just go and check. Okay, so what are the statements? RE01, this is the one, and RE01, RE03, okay, RE02, okay, it is slightly different. So what happens, whatever the values that are there, I just open it. So whatever the RE01 and RE03, look here, there is a difference here, right? RE03 is available in both the data tables, right? But still this value is different, north and west. That's the reason why it is showing it. Whatever the logic, right, the theory is still holds good here, but only thing is, right, you might be wondering, I did it intentionally. Okay, so you might get something tricky like this. In the case of D100 exam, they might give you something like this. So here you will find RE03, here only RE03. Obviously you'll think this is common, hence it will not consider. But in this case, the second column you need to look at it, right, the north and west. So because of which it returned only these two values. Hope you understood. A minus B, whatever value is there in A which is not there in B will be returned. That is the one returned here. The next one is the intersect. I just go and show you the common value between these two tables. Click on modeling and go to the new table. So the syntax is pretty simple. The intersect is the left table and right table. First argument supposed to be your left table, and second argument is your intersect table. Here I am going to say the intersect. So this is little bit tricky. It returns all rows from the left table. Sorry, it returns the value, all the values that are common between these two data set. Here I am going to say intersect. Yes, it got created. Let's go and select. So this is the intersect. Nothing is common between these two tables. That is what we can see here. Why nothing is common in between? The REG1, RE01 is there, but RE01 is not there here in this table, and RE03 is there here, but it is there, but the second column is different. That's the reason why we don't see any value, right? We don't see any common value. So both the except and intersect is bit tricky with this data set. Everyone will tempted to think in both the cases this record will come, right? So in the except case it will get this one will get excluded, but it did not, right? In the case of intersect, everyone will tempted to say RE03 will come here, right? So that record is common. It is not common because north and north, all the values should also be common, right? So it is not common, hence it is not returning anything. So it is not commutative. Intersect is not commutative. So hope your kids' school maths book you would have the commutative terms and all, right? So the duplicate rows are retained in the case of intersect. So that is what you need to remember. The column names will match the column names in table, right? So that, but in this case the column names are not, the values especially, right, the values are not matching. So hence we concluded there is nothing is common between these two. So far we discussed the intersect, all the set operators, right? Intersect, union, and cross join also you can try it out. So the cross join, I just leave it to you all, just give it a try. It's a pretty simple one. Cross join table 1 and table 2 returns it to the kind of Cartesian product. As the name suggests, it returns a Cartesian product. Okay, I don't want to get in here now. Look here, in this case the colors and stationery, let's say this is a classic example, right? So all the stationery items that you sell it across all the colors whatever you have it, right? So in the colors column, whatever the value you have it, that is in all the colors you sell the stationery related. And this is the kind of scenario we can use CrossJoin. Otherwise we don't use CrossJoin, especially when you work with the huge volume of data. When you use CrossJoin, that too if you work with more than 2 tables, it takes a lot of time, it consumes too much of resources in your system. Make sure that you are using it in a very rare case, something like that. If you are very clear, okay, I have the number of colors are very less, and what are the colors we are having it in this column. For these colors, for all these colors, we sell stationaries, all the items that are part of my stationery. So in that kind of situation you can use this one. This is pretty straightforward. And you have something like distinct and current values. I just show you that one also. So since distinct is a function, I just go and show it here. The reason why I am showing directly in the manual is you can make sure that whatever I teach you is correct, right? So distinct column, and we can refer the syntax also in depth. So whatever the unique values that are part of this column, display that. So in that case, right, we can use it. So distinct measure. So I'm going to say the distinct values of my, okay, I just wanted to know the fact table, fact sales, and this one, let's say location key. Location key, yes, I just copy paste this. How many number of unique values are there in the location key column? That is what we want to see it. So you can go and check it here, but programmatically if you wanted to do it something, right, so you can use the distinct measure. Okay, here I just create a card here. It is showing some, so calculated a table of multiple, okay, so table of multiple values. Okay, that is the problem. So here we have the multiple values. Better we will use a table here also. Okay, and I'm going to use so the distinct function syntax is this one, CountRows, right? We have used CountRows here. He has used CountRows. Distinct column, the argument is column. It returns a one column table. Look here, syntax returns a one column table that kind of distinct values from the specified column. It returns a one column table. So distinct measure my distinct table. So what I am going to do is I just want to check the CountRows, like he mentioned. How many number of rows are there for the location key? And you can also drag and drop the column names here. Is not displaying correctly here. Distinct table. Okay, something wrong here. Okay, here. Okay, I just see, you can see some kind of error here, right? So it will not show anything. Distinct table, CountRows, distinct fact sales, location key, distinct column, right? So I just used a distinct CountRows, distinct sales, customer key, location key. We have a location key, isn't it? I just go here. Okay, in the interest of time, I just type location key is part of my fact sales. It is correctly we mentioned it location key only, right? So yeah, the next one is a distinct table. CountRows location key is correct only. The expressions when a query is not a valid table expression. Okay, so what is wrong here? The distinct table, right? So what is table? Distinct table. Or else we will use straightforward. So ideally, it was asking for the function name, right? Yes, it is. The count rows, right, is not working here. So why count rows is not working here? Because you need to specify the table name, entire table name. Okay, it is not for the column name. So here, hence I removed this. Now, so what are the distinct values are this one, right? It shows this one because this function is returning returns only one column of the table, right? The output of this one. Fine. So this is distinct table, and next we will take a look at something else called the values. Values and distinct, both of them are more or less same. But what is the difference? Even values takes the table name. It takes either the table name or the column name, right? So it takes either the table name or column name. The same thing, right? So here we can do the values table. Values table, and here I just, instead of distinct, I replace that by values. It is opening something else. Values table got created, it seems. Okay, I think I entered it 2 times. I just click on it here. So here my fact sales, I'm going to use only, and I'm going to click on the source. Yeah, that one NC sales. I have used NC sales.xls file here, NC sales, right? And here for the location, I have used in this thing, I have used something else called dim location. Yeah, the naming convention is proper, but except the fact tables NC sales. So what I am going to do is I am going to go ahead and say some other name for the existing one. So here that one and NC sales. I just open this file. I'm going to rename the location key with different name, something strange, which is not there in my location dimension table. Okay, let us see what happens. So for that, to simulate that, I'm going to make changes to the existing data set. So here what I'm going to do is I'm going to say Okay, I just say Bangalore transaction 1500, right? So here what I'm going to do is I'm going to say LLR, some typing mistake. Okay, I just save it. I'm done with this. Since the LLR is not there in my dim location, it is not there in my dim location. So what I'm going, since I made changes, I need to refresh it here to check whether I have LLR here. Yeah, LLR got included, it got refreshed, right? So now my data set, my Power BI has the latest data in it for fact sales. Okay, so next I just go here. Okay, here let's see if we can use the same thing, the count table, not this one. Distinct table, right? So in the distinct table, so we can see this one, right? The unique value. But in this case, we did not do any LLR location key inserted here, right? So LLR is something strange. That is, instead of specifying BLR, we mentioned LLR in the transaction file. Ideally, I should have used that one. Okay. I don't know why it hangs like hell. They can work on. Oh, okay. I opened something nonsense. That's the problem. Mistakenly, the another file got open. Okay, we got it. I just go here. The values function takes the column name also as an argument, right? So here table name or column name, you can specify both. So the values fact sales and location key. Location key. Okay. So here I should mention values. Values table final. Okay, we are done with it. Okay, so this is the one. Okay, let me just, I should have used it here. Sorry, values table final. Okay, it is a measure, it's a table. Okay, what we are saying the same thing, right? So no, not that one. Already many things are there. Values table and values table final. Values table final, yes. Location key, all the location key related. Calculate table, fact sales, no, location key is equal to Bangalore. This I created. Which name I created it? That's the one second. Let me just. Values, okay, values table 1 and values table, okay. Let me do one thing, otherwise to overcome the confusion. CountRows. Then the query is not a valid expression. It is not considering this one. What I am going to do is, instead of this, so anyhow, okay, let me do one thing. First we'll create the table and then using values function, where is the location table? Dim location, location name, look here, we get a blank value first of all, okay, before we get into the values function, all the things, right? So we are getting blank here in the dimension table location. Why are we getting blank here? Can someone tell me? Let me see how many of you notice this clearly. I'm going to unmute you all so you can open up now. You can tell me why are we getting blank value in this slicer for the location name column. Why are we getting a blank value? It inserted a blank record here because there is no matching value between. I just show you this one. I just go and select the location key here. Look here we have LLR, right? We don't see any LLR here. Since there is no matching record here, LLR, it inserted a blank value here, okay? Now let us see how this count function the values function is helpful to find out the here I already created, right? It was, let me do one thing. Okay, here it was showing all the distinct values. I'm going to use, on top of this, I'm going to create a measure. So hope you understood. In the interview they'll ask you, why we get blank values in this slicer. So this answers that question also. Okay, so this is for values count rows. CountRows function table. Yeah, whenever you take a table, right? So here, what is that? Values table 1. Can I use CountRows here in the measure? CountRows, can I use it in a measure? So these kind of questions can also, you can expect. So CountRows, it's a table, right? So, specify number of tables. The name of the table that contains the number of rows to be counted. And here, let us see what happens. Here, no errors. Values CountRows. So values count, it is working, right? Okay. Just because a function takes the argument as a table, that doesn't mean you have to use calculator table. So values CountRow measure for, and values CountRows. Here it shows the values in the table as 8. Okay, how did we create the values table 1? From the fact sales location key, we identified the thing and then we created this one. Okay, let me do one thing. I just create a table here. So now you understood why we are getting blank, isn't it? So in the case of fact sales, this is the fact sales. In the fact sales, we put LLR. Ideally, whatever the location key that are part of this one. See here, I should have selected the location key only, since for you people to understand. Let me just select this. There is something wrong here with this. One second. Now if you see here, nothing is, we don't see any BLR. I just put you that one. I hope if you are able to understand, right, I can move ahead. See here, this is coming from this one. Just give me a second here. So this is coming from the dimension location, this key, and this is coming from fact sales. Just to show you why we are getting blank here. You understood, right? Because we don't have the location key LLR that is there in the master table, the lookup table. In our case, which is a location table, it puts a blank value here, right? So that's the reason why it is doing that. And what I am going to do is I just go and put this one here, location table. I just put this one as here. So everything is 118, right? So actually it is not detecting the the blank record, right? So as per the Microsoft document, in case you have any orphan records, the location key which is not there in the dimension location table, but in your sales fact table or transaction table, if you have a location key which is not part of your location dimension, then it will put a blank space in this one when you use values count, right? So values count row also we tried it, but it shows 8 records, 2, 4, 6, 8 record. Ideally it should take into account of this one also as per theory, okay, but it is not doing it, okay. So what I am going to do is values count row, values count row, right? So instead of using this one, values count row, this is the measure or table. We created a table, right? Because we did not link that, it is not showing it here. and this is the calc tip. Let me just go here, and it is putting something, right? Yeah. Okay, first of all, so here in this case what happened, it inserts a blank record. When you use the values function, now it shows it into, it puts some blank value here, right? So the distinct function will give you the total number of unique values excluding blank, whereas the values function, right, it inserts a blank in your dimension table, right? So you just think that, as of now. And next